a bit of time to reflect on the retail experience of Vodafone, and I suppose what he's telling is almost how low one's expectations are going into a phone retailer. What you expect is an anodyne little box um, with lots of choices and lots of data and a rather shark-like sales system. And anything that's better than that, you kind of like. But I suppose the big gap is between one's excitement about the products and its capabilities and the emerging world of technology and all the possibilities that you can get from that, and your expectations of what it's going to be like to go and purchase that product one to one, face to face. And we've almost been trained to expect very, very little from those experiences, they, because it's where little me meets big network, where little me meets a technological infrastructure, and I've got to find some way to fit my needs into the chunks of tariff that have been presented on that day. In terms of the actual sales experience in more detail, I think what's that sense of little me, big network is really reinforced by the nature of dynamic pricing in this market. So you're offered a deal, and then you have sales assistants who go from being enthusiastic advocates of the technology. I like this phone because it can do the X, Y, and Z, to being essentially kind of intermediaries between pricing structures that look like they're centrally controlled and are pumped down a pipe that day. So it's incredibly disempowering, actually. That what you feel is that the hand of a centralized command and control brand offering live deals that their minions in store will try and pass on to you today. You get no sense of them creating a package for you. You get a sense of them selling you what they can sell you that day. I got a fiver off, so I went for a 18-month deal at £30, and I think it should have been with a £5 mobile internet charge, and the assistant took that off the deal for me. But it felt like he was selling deal of the day, not building something around me. So a disappointing experience overall. And I suppose it gets you to a big truth about this market, if you like, that the gap between the brands as they express themselves in advertising and communications, and as they're experienced in the real world, is enormous. It's absolutely massive. What you have in communication for mobile operator brands is lofty ideals, big production numbers, they're kind of grandiloquent pieces of communication about connection or so on and so forth. And what you have also is a retail experience that is mass and fast, and often, particularly when you get in places like Phone View, very, very aggressive. And that discrepancy, I think, is a problem. And if you look at a recent commercial like Tesco Mobile, which we'll put on this same page, maybe we'll put it up there, it's ready to be lampooned, if you like. What's effective about that piece of communication is it can play with those stereotypical rather lofty ideals and puncture them from the point of view of a brand that is traditionally on your side in Tesco. So what do you do with that? What do you do with the fact that there's lots of excitement around the category? What mobile operators and Vodafone offers is something really important, and the fact that the retail experience is hard and aggressive. Do you just leave that? Do you close that gap? Do you try and make the retail experience less hard and aggressive? I don't think so. I think what's necessary is to bring a bit of humour and humility to those lofty ideals, if you like. It's fine to be lofty. In fact, it's appropriate to be lofty, because I think what technology brands do these days is allow people to realise their potential. But it needs to be delivered in a way that doesn't jar, actually helps a trading retail organisation trade well versus outline the gap between what their brand promises and what it's actually like in store. Anyway, getting down to the nitty gritty of what I experienced, a couple of things that really jarred with me against the promise of power to you. The first one was compulsory opt-out insurance, in which I've got to go back to the store some point over the next few weeks or months to cancel an insurance deal that I didn't ask for. That could not be further away from the brand promise, and it's almost an embarrassment. It's the sales assistant kind of blithely said, "Oh, and just pop back in and cancel this insurance policy over the next few days," and it made me really quite cross with the brand, and it's I suppose a symbol which will end up snagging against this promise, I think, and I think it's either got to be delivered with greater context, if you like, so why you're making me take this thing, or it needs to be dropped. The second thing I think is when you come to the product experience on your phone, it's the Vodafone layer that stands between me and the stuff I want. So Vodafone Live is my way into web experiences. It makes perfect sense in terms of a brand that is trying to add value to the experience, but in a world in which I'm used to immediate, transparent access to the things I want, it looks strange. It jars with me that you force me through a Vodafone navigation on an Android phone, and it presents interesting questions about what do we want the Vodafone brand to do. I think at times we want it to be like an operating system, so we want it to be brilliantly invisible. We want it to do its job without snare or snag, and actually that's a great thing. And at other times, I want it to intervene in my life and make it better. And I suppose working out when to be invisible and when to be conspicuous is one of the tasks for building the brand, actually, for delivering against this brand promise. Because power to you will sometimes be about being like the swan whose legs are kicking like Billy-O underwater, but the effort is invisible. So sometimes I don't want to see a Vodafone presence, and at other times I think it would be really valuable because it's a complicated market, and how do I find out the new ways to empower myself, if you like, and that's where I think the role for the brand comes in, but not getting in the way of me and my stuff. So in the rest of this document, you're going to see a few things. We've looked at the digital representation of the brand and how to think about it against the notion of power to you. We have another one of my planners has also had a different kind of retail experience. He's gone as an existing customer, and he's gone to try and cancel a contract in a store, and he's done a little piece of film about how that went down. But I suppose getting onto the big stuff and the meaningful stuff, we've had to think about the way that power to you could work in the British market. I think it's really interesting that this brand is a great British brand that gets none of the credit for being a great British brand, and I'm kind of interested in why that is. And I think things like the cricket sponsorship don't seem to actually connect into it being one of our own. So what will it take, I suppose, to slightly detox the brand so that people are willing to give it the credit it deserves, if you like. So there's a bit of thought and some slides around that, and just some presumptuous thoughts about what we could do as an agency to help in that journey. Thank you.